Hey, what's up, Fit Fam? It's that time of the month again. We're going to do our video for our March Strength Club workout. So we're going to start with workout A here today and go over everything. Hopefully give you a good idea of what we're working on. And then if you do have any questions, hopefully we answer some of those here. But if not, gives you something to be ready to ask the coach about when you come in for your first session as well. So you guys know the drill. We got our templates, traditional setup here, so pretty typical one for us. We're going to start with our ramping to get it warmed up and get everything working here, and then we'll move on to our power, then our strength training, and a little finisher at the end for you. So for our ramping here and that mobility work, we're going to start with our hangs, of course. Again, great for that shoulder health, shoulder strength, grip strength. Also will help with that pull-up strength as well here. So just take your time, focus on your breathing, and big deep breaths in through the nose, hold for a second, slowly push all that air out. So again, your goal should be to try to do that hang with as few breaths as possible. So really taking big deep breaths in, slowly pushing that air out. 2 to 3 breaths would be great. Obviously, if you need to do more, you can do more. Just make sure you're focused on your breathing. It's not short breaths here. Pay attention. I know not everybody loves hangs. It's 2 sets of 30 seconds though, so I really don't want to hear your complaints either, okay? The second exercise here, we're gonna match that up with our half kneeling halos. So you'll use a kettlebell here, upside down to get started. Squeeze that back glute, or taking it over that shoulder, as low behind your back as you can, and then over to the other side and back to the center. Driving that front big toe into the floor, squeezing that back glute tight. This is great for, activating those glutes, getting those hip flexors stretched out, also opening up those shoulders, and a little bit of core work here as well. So don't be afraid to challenge yourself with that kettlebell weight, anywhere from that 10 to, really 35 to 40 pounds, depending on the person here. But again, start with a little bit lighter, see how those shoulders feel here. We'll get a set in on each side here. So in the first set, you'll be on one knee. The second set, you'll be on the other. So we're gonna get 2 sets of each of those there. The second group here is gonna be, we're gonna be working with our bands. On the blue form, we have our anti-rotational dead bugs here. So you see Coach Lynn, back press against the floor, reaching one leg at a time. Now she's pulling away at that beam as well, or that band. This isn't like slacking the man. I want you to feel like you're resisting that rotation, and you will notice it once you start to extend that leg. But also notice the tempo here. Controlled tempo, reaching with that leg, pausing for a second. It's not about getting a bunch of reps in. It's about really challenging yourself with those reps to make sure you're not rotating. You will feel this in your core as you're working this one as well. And then the second exercise, we have our sandbag beast pull-throughs here. So in that beast position, shoulders over the wrists, hips over those knees, knees just up off the floor. Think about pushing those knees apart as you're working here, so we're not letting our hips shift. Take your time, just like those dead bugs. It's not about getting a bunch of reps in. It's about controlling that weight, thinking about like there's a drink tray on your lower back, not letting yourself spill those drinks. Obviously, if you need to at any point, you come down to your knees, take a couple deep breaths, come back up when you're ready. You can also just hold that beast position if you need to there. So we'll get 2 sets of each of those, and then we're gonna move on now. So for our power and total body work here, we're gonna be working some landmines to get started. So this is a little bit more core focused, but when we're working these landmines, we're thinking total body here as well. So we're gonna get set up with those feet, wider than hips width apart, slightly leaning into that into that bar, rotating through those hips. Notice how I'm pivoting on that back foot, squeezing that glute as I rotate, and then I'm gonna use those hips to pull it. Now also notice that upper body here. The arm coming across stays nice and straight. I'm trying to keep my torso as upright as possible. I'm leaning into it, but I'm not hip hinging. I'm not folding at the hips as I work this one. I'm gonna use those hips, deep breath in on the way down, yank that bar up using those hips to pull it up here. So we're gonna get 8 to each side. Now you can either do 8 on one side, then 8 on the other. I like to, as you can see in this video, I like to alternate side to side here. You also might need to reset your feet every few reps, so check that your feet are squared up. They tend to get flared out as we keep working those reps. So every couple reps, just check your feet. A coach will remind you as well. So 8 to each side. And then our second exercise is our monster walk sled drag. Now this one is deceptively challenging here. So you see you got the band around my ankles. You can go anywhere from the ankles up to just below the knees. And then you're gonna sit into that chair, trying to stay low. wide stance as well. The wider you go, the lower you go, the more you're gonna work those glutes, and we're dragging that sled. Now also notice that tempo. Very intentional, slow steps here so that you can focus on your form. Now those glutes are gonna feel it even if you move fast, but what we sometimes will notice is that if you're trying to move fast, those knees are gonna be caving in on you. We're not gonna get the work done. And when all this is designed to get those muscles activated so that when we move on, everything's ready to go. So you're just gonna drag it one way down the floor. The next person will drag it back the other direction here. So again, weight doesn't have to be super heavy on that sled either, because you are gonna be feeling this in those glutes as you're working. So we're gonna get the landmines and straight over to the sled. We're gonna get 2 sets of those. Give yourself 30 to 90 seconds to recover between those sets. And then we will move on to our strength training. Now, for our strength training this month, we're gonna do some send-offs, and this is where the coach is gonna have to stay focused and you are gonna have to stay focused and work on these, because this is something where you're not gonna be working at your own pace at this point. Now, you're gonna have plenty of time, but this can be really challenging to stay organized as you're doing this one as well. So we'll see how it goes. But we're gonna have 4 exercises and you're gonna rotate through them like a circuit. We'll get things set up before we get started as much as we can, so that once we get started, we're not having to think about it as much. But this is gonna be on you at times to know what you're doing and when you're ready to do it. But 4 exercises. Now, we're gonna start with 5 reps. The first week, we're gonna start with 5 reps just to feel it out, time it out, and see how it's gonna work for everybody. Also give you some feedback about how it's feeling. But we'll do 5 to 7 rounds. You're gonna do just 3 reps. Now, this isn't 3 as heavy as possible reps. This is 3 reps at about what your 5 rep max would be. So for example, we have our deadlifts here. If, for example, you can deadlift 100 pounds, and that's pretty light, but again, a lot of you can, and most of you can, and most of you can do way more than that, but 100 is an easy number to work with. If you can do 5 reps for 100 pounds, then here what you're gonna do is you're just gonna do 5 or 100 pounds for just 3 reps, okay? So we're gonna leave a little bit of gas in that tank on each set here, because they are gonna start to add up. And total rep wise, we're gonna get more reps in. It's just gonna take some time to get there. So you're gonna have 60 seconds to do 3 quality reps. Now again, we're focused. The great thing about these send-offs is that we can challenge ourselves a little bit with the weight, but we're also gonna have some extra fuel in the tank, and it's also gonna allow us to focus on the form itself. So we're not rushing to get these done. It's not like get them done as quickly as you can. It's use that time to get those quality reps in, move to the next station. I don't want you feeling exhausted. I don't want you getting behind. This is gonna require you to focus a little bit on how you're feeling and make some adjustments. So we have deadlifts, so we'll do 5, you're gonna do 3 reps, 3 heavy reps on that deadlift, but again, a weight that you could do 5 reps, so we leave a little bit in the tank. Then we're moving on to our incline alternating bench press. So we'll do 3 reps on each arm, hip bridge rows for 3 quality reps, and then some lateral step-ups. So we'll get the room set up. This is where it's gonna have more of a boot camp feel as far as getting some things set up in the room, also depending on the number of people are there. So going through them, you know, the deadlifts here, you can use the kettlebell or the trap bar here. You got Coach Matt getting set up, chest up, nice flat back, driving through those heel, squeeze those glutes, tall posture at the top here. Again, I want you to feel like you're nailing those reps, 1 good rep at a time, just 3, and then you're gonna move over to the alternating incline bench press. So on the bench here, remember, this is where 1 arm at a time, both stay up, and then 1 comes down and up, then the other here. So this one's gonna take a few seconds longer, but you wanna get over there. This is why it's important to make sure you're not wearing yourself out, so that when you get over there, you have enough time to get those weights, get them set up, so when we're ready to go, you're gonna have 60 to 45 seconds to work through these. 1 rep, or each arm alternating, 1 rep at a time. We'll get 3 on each side here. So this is, again, in week 1. It's hard to say exactly what that weight would be. It's gonna be a little bit lighter than what you're doing on that flat bench, but you can figure out as you go. You can also go back and look through some of the weights from the months before when we've done the alternating incline bench press to give you an idea. But remember, week 1 anyway is a lot of figuring out what weights work. As we're going around as well, you can always adjust that weight if you feel like you can go heavier or if you need to go a little bit lighter. So 3 on each side. Then we're gonna move over to our hip bridge rows. Again, here, getting set up underneath the anchor point. hips up, squeezing those glutes tight, pulling your chest all the way up to your hands here. This is important because, again, we're only doing 3 reps. If you are going so heavy that you're not getting those quality reps in, you need to make it a little bit lighter. So if being directly under the anchor point is a little too heavy, you turn around and work more of that traditional TRX row here. If you feel like this is a little too light, you can also walk your feet a little further away from you here, making yourself a little bit heavier for those 3 quality reps. But I want you to feel like you can hold yourself up there for a second and then control on the way down, just like T is doing here on this one. And then our last one's gonna be our lateral step up. So again, a very simple exercise. This is another one where you're gonna wanna challenge yourself with those weights. Grab weights that will be challenging. Again, not so challenging that you can't do the 3 reps on each side, but enough that you feel like, hey, by that 5th or 6th or 7th round, I am gonna be feeling this a little bit more. Knee stays out over the midfoot, chest up, going as wide as you feel comfortable here. Deep breath in, push that air out as you drive up, crushing that box here. So it's gonna be 3 to each side. You can hold kettlebells or dumbbells here, whichever one feels most comfortable for you. So that's the circuit, and we're gonna work through them one at a time. So you'll be moving around the room the entire time here. And again, if you start to feel yourself getting behind, you're running out of time, or you're feeling like you're breathing so heavy that you're not able to get started here, either lighten the load or take a round off. Do not get yourself stuck in that place where now you're finishing, but we're counting down again. First off, it's gonna disrupt everybody else, and it's not what we're doing. I can't express this enough. The idea is if you are worn out after a set and you're not ready to go to the next set, you're going too heavy, and we'll smack the shit out of you if we have to reinforce that. We're probably not going to, but read your waivers, okay? So again, at first this is gonna feel a little deceptive. The idea here is that we can get just as many reps in, if not more, than we normally would on a regular workout without feeling as worn out as we do with those sets of more reps to get to the same place. So if we can get 15 sets in 5 reps instead of 15 sets in 3 reps, or 15 reps in 3 sets, then we are able to save a little bit more energy and focus a little bit more on that skill. And when you practice this one consistently, you will see those strength gains as well. So it's a slightly different concept than what some of you are used to, I understand. So in that first week, just give yourself that time to see what we're doing, get familiar with it, and we can build on it in weeks 2, 3, and 4 there. So then once we're done with those 5 to 7 sets, we're gonna move on to our finisher. Again, nice and simple here. Again, the focus, especially in Strength Club, is let's get really good at these simple exercises. So we're gonna start with some chin-ups, because again, I like to practice those in both workouts if we can, as often as we can. 5 to 10 reps here. Again, this is another one where I would err on the side of making it a little bit lighter to make sure you're getting quality reps in, as opposed to struggling and not getting all the way up just to make it harder. Harder is, I know that some people, harder feels better. Sometimes it makes you feel like you're doing more, but nothing feels better than pulling yourself up to the top of a chin-up bar on your own. And the way that you get there is by making sure you're doing it well each time. So focus on the quality of those reps first and let that dictate how heavy you're gonna go. Then we have our swings and our echo bike. So either 5 dead stop swings. Again, focused on driving those heels into the floor, legs straightening. Remember, we're not pushing our hips forward. We're straightening up, and that's how the hips move forward. That's how it gets that kettlebell swinging. So you can either do these 5 dead stop swings like Coach T's demonstrating here, 1 good rep at a time, or you can go 10 repetitions, a little faster pace here. Pop those hips, drive those heels into the floor, squeeze those glutes. So either 5 reps or 10 reps on this one, and then we're over to the echo bike for 5 calories. Again, here's where it's 5 calories no matter what you do. So you can either go a little bit slower, and it depends on how you're feeling, and that's fine, or you can really challenge yourself to push and pull as fast and as hard as you can here. But day to day, we'll see how you're feeling. But again, it's a good gauge. That time is a good gauge of whether or not you're improving on this one as well here. And again, this combination is a little bit more conditioning focused than it's going to be strength focused. So give yourself some time to recover afterwards, 90 seconds to even 3 minutes, depending on how you're feeling. I really want you to put as much effort as you can into all 3 of those exercises, and this is how we're gonna build up some of that conditioning at the end of the workout as well. So we'll get 2 to 3 sets of that, and then we're done with this workout. So again, if you guys have any questions about any of the things that we've hit on here today, please comment on the video or talk to the coach before you get here. Ask us some questions. And again, don't worry if in the first week you're kind of feeling a little confused, or maybe it's feeling you're feeling a little flustered, might feel a little frenetic at first. You will pick up on what we're doing and you'll figure everything out in weeks 2, 3, and 4, and you will get stronger. Okay, so that's our Strength Club A workout for March, everybody. Love you, bye.